You opened up Stareable yesterday. That's the new website that wants to democratize how we watch television. The first thing you saw was a daily pick called Anhedonia. Anhedonia?
Yep.
Anhedonia. It's easier to watch than to say. It's an acid trip of a puppet sketch comedy show. Now that ain't Law and Order, folks. And here to tell us what Stareable hopes to do and how it plans to do so is its founder, Ajay Kishore. Welcome to BK Live, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Ajay.
Yes.
Stareable.
Yes.
What is the whole idea behind the concept, and how hard was it to make it sort of come into fruition?
Yeah, so Stareable is a hub for web series or independent television. What we see happening is that there's a ton of great content being created, but it's scattered across all these platforms: Facebook, Vimeo, YouTube, and then there are all these new providers of television. So Refinery 29, Vice, BRIC, and all this video is also mixed in with all these one-offs, the funny cat videos of the world. And so there's no great way to find what's actually worth watching. So we provide a single place for users to come, browse across platforms, read reviews, find the show that's right for them. We don't host or create any of the content ourselves. We link out to it, but we just remove the need to know.
So is it more of a portal? Is it a streaming service?
Yeah, so we're not streaming it. It's kind of a portal. It's a way. It's a guide, right? So we're able to
like
say
the fat Jewish of the TV and one-off kind of things, where you aggregate all this great stuff and point us toward it.
Yeah, that's the goal, is to make those recommendations. I think that's kind of where the site came out of, is this like very natural water cooler conversation of like, hey, what are you watching? What should I be watching? And we want to create a service or a guide that helps you solve that in a broader way.
So does that mean that you're tied to your computer 24 hours a day, or you're just like listening to what Aaron and I are talking to?
Oh yeah, let me share.
Community generated? Like, how does it work and filter into becoming the thing that we should watch for the day?
Yeah, so recommendation is a really interesting problem, right? So
opportunity?
Opportunity. And so I think there are a lot of different ways to solve it.
Yeah.
The Daily Pick is one example of us saying, hey, this is something that we really think you should watch. You probably wouldn't have discovered it otherwise. We would love to get it in front of you. We have a newsletter that does a similar sort of thing. So 3 picks this week for you to watch. But the real goal, I think, is to have the users of the site drive those sorts of recommendations. So to have people say, hey, this show is really amazing, and for us to be able to take the data from how people are reviewing shows and push that to other users. And that, I think, is the really exciting part, is that all of a sudden you can do this in a much bigger way.
So it's a community-driven sort of hub, and as people watch and recommend, then it sort of recommends you other things?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
So I'm not a technical person. All I know is that when I go onto YouTube and they say, hey, you watch this, then you might like that, or,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So how is your platform better than what already exists?
So I think, for example, YouTube, right? So YouTube has a ton of data about how people are watching videos, but they're never going to say to you, this Vimeo show is amazing, this Vice show is amazing. They're going to keep you within the confines of YouTube. Same thing with Vimeo, same thing with Amazon, same with everything with everything else.
Don't click away from us.
Exactly. Yeah. And the reason that we don't have that issue is because we don't create any content. It doesn't matter to us where the show lives. Our only goal is, how do we get the best show possible for you in front of you? So
you're sort of like a TV executive's best friend and worst nightmare, because it doesn't matter about their marketing budgets. You sort of flatten everything, and everything is judged on its merits. Yeah, exactly. So we have stuff on there that's kind of big budget, and we have stuff on there that 2 NYU film students created and threw up on YouTube. And the exciting thing about it is all the time we find these shows that have 1,000 views on YouTube, and they're brilliant. And it's because filmmaking and marketing are 2 very different skills. And so you can be a tremendous filmmaker, but be horrible at marketing. And what we want to solve is, how do you get that show in front of people, and how remove the need for them to have to focus on that.
Okay, now in the intro, Brian was saying that part of the mission is to democratize the way we watch television. Could you just expand on that just a little bit?
So I think our definition.
It's not democratic already?
It's definitely not democratic already. I mean, how do you get a show onto cable? I have no idea. But I think the exciting thing as television moves to the internet is anyone can create a show. And so really all of a sudden our definition of television is broadening. And so as people get more comfortable watching video outside of their physical television on all sorts of devices, and as they get comfortable with watching internet TV instead of traditional cable television, it opens up that opportunity. So you're no longer fighting over a time slot. You're just trying to get in front of the audience that would enjoy your show.
So can you go back to the moment of like inception for us? When did you decide that this was something that you wanted to get behind and put all of your time and thought space into? Were you solving a problem, or you just saw
your favorite show just wasn't?
When did you say someone should do something? It was like, oh, I guess I'm the someone.
I do think that it kind of came out of a very natural, like an inclination I have to make those sorts of recommendations to friends. Like, I am always the person that says, hey, have you seen this? It's unbelievable.
So you're that guy.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I don't think I went out looking for that role, but I definitely am. And there was something really, I think, appealing. I love television. It's my absolute favorite medium. And there's something really appealing about, creating a tool that helps people do that. And I have a background in engineering, and putting structure around what's really like a very fragmented and opaque ecosystem right now. Mm-hmm. You just slowly fall in love with it. I don't think I went out looking for a business to start,
right.
But over time it just takes over your life.
I just have to think about TV has just completely changed the way we view it. I mean, I would say within the last sort of 5 to 6 years.
Since you got a Roku?
Yeah, something like that. But there's all this idea of fake news and people being in their bubble and different things like that. How does Stareable sort of fit into the context of how people get information nowadays as well?
And do we have to pay you? Is it like a subscription thing or an app-based thing? How
totally
do we
free.
get in on the Stareable?
So we can share across multiple platforms all the news that we would like to share, but how do you also get people from outside of your bubble?
Well, I think so to answer your question, it's totally free, Stareable.com. And I think the exciting thing is right now, you wouldn't necessarily hear about a show because you're limited to your immediate surroundings and you're limited to your immediate social circle. But this is a way of allowing you to hear from other users that might look similar to you, but that you have no way of coming in contact with. And to be able to crowdsource that recommendation, I think is really powerful. It's the sort of thing where, when you think about what Netflix does really well, they make those recommendations based on all the users that they have.
And they make really good recommendations.
They do, yeah.
Sometimes.
Until they don't.
Again, really hard problem to solve. But yeah, I mean, I think their ability to look at how people are watching television and not have to worry about, what have you already heard about, or what your social circle is watching, becomes really powerful, and it becomes a way of making the best content available to you.
Okay, before we get out of here, it's going to be a long, cold weekend. What should I be binge watching while I'm pretending work isn't coming on Monday?
I just discovered the show last week called Dynamo. It's like a cyberpunk space opera. It's the sort of thing where it exists as a web series, and so you think, when you think about a web series, it's going to be low budget, low quality. It feels like early George Lucas, like the sort of obsessiveness where someone created the tiny little spaceship miniatures.
Made a world.
Exactly. It feels expansive, and it feels so well done, and it's mysterious, and there are multiple storylines. Dynamo.
And I don't have to go Googling for it. I can just go right to...
Go to Stareable, look up Dynamo. It'll be right there. Yeah, and that's just the feeling that I find myself chasing. It's like you just discover these shows that aren't particularly well known but are amazing. Cool. And that's really exciting.
Thank you so much,
Stareable.com.
Yeah.
There you have it. Thanks for coming in today.